What are we doing for homeschooling in April? I'll tell you right now. Hey guys, it's Vani from Mrs. Mom's Homeschool, and today I want to share with you guys our April theme for our homeschool. I've been doing this series once a month for a couple of months, and this month is we're going to do for the month of April. So let's just get right into it. For our character study, as I've shown you guys before, we use Laying Down the Rails with the Laying Down the Rails companion book. And the trait that we're going to be working on is being agreeable. I want my kids to be able to just be agreeable. They don't always have to be right, and sometimes our plans don't work out, and we have to learn how to just go with the flow. So this is the trait that we're going to be working on this spring, well, this April. We are going to continue on with history for this month, Unit 1 of the Good and the Beautiful History, to finish up Unit 1 before jumping into a science unit. We had spring break this month, so that threw us off, and then we tried a week of campfire curriculum, the Easter unit, and so that gave us another week off of doing our history. So now we have to take Unit 1 of the Good and the Beautiful History and finish that in April, so that in May we can jump into a science unit. Because if you are new to my channel, I alternate monthly history with science. I like to do a whole month of history and then a whole month of science. In place of our poetry tea time, I really wish I had time to do like all of these different electives, but in place of our poetry tea time this month, we are going to be doing nature studies, and I'm going to show you all the resources that I have on what we're going to be studying for our nature studies. But that is what we're going to be doing this month, is doing nature studies for our elective. We're also going to be adding in some baking. My little girl really loves to bake, and I had been planning on baking with her more, and I just completely forgot. So once a week we're going to have a day, probably on our Fun Fridays or on our laid back Mondays, we're going to be baking some new recipe from this cookbook. So for our nature studies, I have a bunch of different resources. I made a video here, and I have like a million different books that I bought for nature studies. I've got myself a companion now. She snuck in when I went to go get a tissue. So the first thing we're going to be doing for our nature study is we're going to be studying trees. And after that, I don't know, I haven't gotten there yet. But we're going to be using the nature for the very young. It's appropriate for my 5th grader and my second grader, my 6-year-old. But yeah, so this is one. This has a bunch of different activities inside per season. It has a little lesson, and you just read it. It's like you're reading it to the child. It's like you're speaking to the child, except you're reading it. And they also have, it's an older book, but they have poems in here, and they have different activities for the kids to do, like do bark rubbing, go up to the tree and touch it, and different crafts and things like that. So I'm going to be pulling little snippets from each of these for the trees, and then when we're done trees and we pick up our other thing, I'll go back to these resources and the others that I have. I also have this Nature Connection. I love this. It's an outdoor workbook, and it has tons of different activities. It has lots of pictures, lots of different things to do. I also have, of course, the Nature Anatomy by Julia Rothman. A lot of you guys are familiar with this. This has beautiful pictures and details. We're going to just jump into the section of trees. We might do insects after that, maybe. But for now, we're going to do trees. Then I have this Boys Book of Adventure, and I have a little bookmarker here. I got this at the homeschool convention. It talks about taking care of plants without wasting water, because we're eventually going to do a garden. So maybe we will plant a tree. Maybe we'll plant a tree. Maybe that's why I marked this in the first place. And I don't know why I had a sticky. That's what this is for. Then I have this Trees, Leaves, and Bark book, which has different types of trees. I really wish they made these by state. I was looking for a trees book in Florida. I found one on Amazon. It's not really directed towards kids, but it's pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. You know what it is, guys? We've lived in Florida since 2008, and I still don't know all of my trees that are here. And I don't know where you're from, or if you know all of your different types of trees in your state, but I feel like everybody else knows which tree is which here, and I don't. And I don't want my kids to have that problem when they grow up. So we're learning our trees, and then we're learning our birds eventually as well. They need to be true Floridians. Then we have this Magic of Mystery of Trees book. This book is really cute. There's another book like this with dots. Oh no, this isn't it. Forget what I just said. But there's another book I should go get, but I don't know where it is. But anyway, this is the Magic and Mystery of Trees, and this book is awesome. This might be even our the main thing that we use, because the entire thing is about trees. So we could talk about the roots, how the leaves change. This is what we're going to do. This is going to be our main focus here. How the trees, leaves change during the seasons, the seeds, flowers, and nuts, fruits and seeds. This is it, guys. I just found my curriculum while I was shooting this video for you, so thank you. Living together, all the animals that live in the trees. This is a whole science unit right here. Forest family, tree defenses, and so on. Love this book. This is the baking book. It is called Bake Up Kids Cookbook. That's my little bookmarker there. And it just has different recipes that are simple for kids to make. It has just different little recipes, and so I'm gonna try to do a recipe a week. It tells you things you should have in your kitchen, different things. So we're gonna do this once a week with my baby girl. For Bible, we are gonna do, I think I'm gonna have my son read from his action Bible, a story a day, and have my daughter read herself a story a day from her Bible, like we have been doing. And then I want them to focus on having some downtime. Like I want them to get used to reading the Bible by themselves and praying by themselves. So I think that I'm gonna do the same to lead by example. So at that time that we're having like our devotional time, we're each gonna read from our different Bibles, and we'll just like set a timer for now. And then I have those prayer cards. I have everything here, what we use for Bible. And just have them set a few minutes for them to learn how to pray by themselves. And then I'm gonna read, I don't have it here, the Case for Faith books. It's The Case for Creator by Lee Strobel. He made some kids books, and we read The Case for Christ, and this month we're gonna do the Case for Faith. We might also do this Little Pilgrim's Progress that I've heard a lot about. From what I understand, it was like a complicated book, and they rewrote it for children. So it says here, it says that Helen Taylor faithfully adapted John Bunyan's allegory for the Christian life, The Pilgrim's Progress, for young readers, hoping to bring its treasury of wisdom nearer to children's hearts and minds. It helps the children see the trials and triumphs of faithfulness with fresh eyes. So we're going to be doing this as our Easter unit. I did buy Campfire Curriculum's Easter unit, and we did 3 lessons, and my kids are just not enjoying it. They're not hating it, but they're not like into it. So I don't want to like waste time doing something just to complete it. I used to do that before, where like I bought this curriculum, I spent money on it, like we're gonna do it, but if they're not enjoying it, they're not learning anything. And my son's thing is like, I know the Easter story, obviously there's more to it than what he knows, but if they're not really attentive and enjoying it, they're not really gonna learn. Kids learn when they're enjoying a subject and when they're fully hands-on and experiencing it, and they're not. So we're gonna try out this Pilgrim's book and see how it goes. If they're enjoying it, we'll continue, and if not, then we'll save it for another time. For our read out loud, we are still reading 100 Covers book 2, but I gotta tell you guys, it got a little dark. So I had to have my 6-year-old not listen, kind of cover her ears a little bit for some of the parts of it. Now it's like really geared towards my 5th grader. The first book was great, it was good for her, it was fine, but the second book, it's getting darker, and we're gonna continue it obviously because we're all into it, but I just have to, like when there's parts that I don't want her to listen to, I have my son come over and read it over my shoulder, and I kind of skip it. She doesn't like that. It's because it talks about, it's a magic book. And so at one part, like they carve something into his stomach and they talk about blood. I mean, it's not gory like an adult book, but still, you know, she's 6. I don't want her hearing that stuff. So we're going to continue to read it, but I'm just monitoring how I do it and how much she's listening to it. So we're not doing like a main Easter unit, but you know, Easter comes, we're going to have a big, nice Easter thing going on. So anyway. So that is our theme for the month of April. Hope you guys enjoyed those little things that we're using. I'll post in the description everything I showed you guys. If you guys want to check it out, you just click on the link and go check it out. Maybe it may be an affiliate link, but that just helps me out a little bit. Doesn't cost you any extra. I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.